now we're going to hear from another Georgina, but Georgina is known as Georgie. And Georgie actually is the lovely apprentice that Lou was talking about earlier. Georgie's going to be asked some questions by Rebecca, who's our business support officer, and she's going to be talking about her job. So I'm going to hand over to Rebecca now and introduce you to Georgie Ralphs.
Hi everyone, Georgie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Perfect. I can hear you, good. So we've already heard some glowing stuff about your work from Lou this morning, but it would be really great to hear about your employment journey from your point of view. So if you can just, if anyone's joined us a bit later, if you could maybe start by saying where you work and what your job is.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Georgie. So I work at a nursery called Tiny Steps, and my job is a nursery apprenticeship doing, or nursery apprentice doing a level 3 childcare course.
Great. And when you were, so you were looking for a job during the pandemic and doing your job search, how did you find this job?
Well, I had a lot of help from Ellen, my job coach, to start with, and then eventually I found a job myself, and I thought that it was the right job for me. And I found the job by going onto the Tiny Steps website, and then going onto their job opportunities page, or their jobs that are available. The section of it, and I saw that job advertised. I wasn't sure at first, because even though it said it was a level 3, and I've never done a level 3 course before, I've only done a level 2. So I was thinking like I might be a bit nervous, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's what we can do. So were you looking for nursery jobs?
I wasn't before. I was looking for more of like an office sort of like admin sort of roles, like working with computers, doing like files, spreadsheets, that sort of thing. But obviously when the COVID situation happened, of course the offices and that would be closed, so it's difficult to like find a job that's there. So I just thought of thinking like, okay, so it might take a little while to find, or quite a long while to find, an admin role. So I thought I need to have a backup plan, and it's always important to have a backup plan in case these things happen. And my backup plan has always been to work with children. It's always been a passion of mine, and I thought when I saw this job advertised, I thought this is definitely the right job for me. That's why I just went for it.
Great. And you had a bit of experience of working with children, didn't you, before?
Yeah, I've like done a lot of voluntary or work experience in different nurseries and primary schools within where I live, in the area where I live. And before this job, or before the job was advertised, my previous job was that I was a teaching assistant at a primary school that I used to go to, in fact, and my role was a teaching assistant, but I was also doing one-to-one support with a little girl that has learning difficulties. So it's really interesting to get an idea of what that's like. Yeah.
Great. So you had lots to put on your CV then? Yeah,
definitely.
So you applied for the job, and then you got your first interview, and we heard from Lee, you did that on Zoom. How did you prepare for that?
So basically, when I found out that I got through to an interview, I thought, brilliant, you know, this is a great opportunity. You know what, just go for it, go for the interview. And I understand at the time, because usually I'm used to going for an interview like a face-to-face to actually see them, but obviously, unfortunately, with the COVID situation, I wasn't allowed to like go into the nursery at the time. So it was through Zoom, which was absolutely fine. So, and I'm used to it now, and I'm more confident with it, as you can see. But I also, before I got told when my interview was, I think I asked my deputy manager and also my manager if I could have the questions in advance, because sometimes for people that have autism like me or any other additional needs, it's so stressful to, when it comes to the interview, to be asked the questions, when some people actually prefer to have the questions before so that they can have more practice and be more confident answering the questions. And it's so important, but I understand other people's different views, that they might prefer to have be asked the questions straight away. But definitely for me, I like to know it in advance, and because if I didn't, I would just be so kind of panicked, really.
Yeah. And how did it go on the day, that first interview?
It was really good. Like I had I thought it was just like a one interview, and I thought, okay, that's it. Then I found out it was actually two, and I was like, whoa, 2 interviews? So I was like, whoa, this is a big thing. So they were both on Zoom, and the interviews went really well. I was quite proud of myself of how well I did, because I'm always a little bit nervous, and sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, am I all clear and that sort of, so I always have those little nerves. But actually it was such a different experience as what I'm used to. So my first interview was, because I know with interviews they can be like formal and then sometimes they can be informal, but actually my first interview was actually quite informal. It's more like a conversation, really, sort of like this, and it's about getting to know me, of course. And so I had to answer some questions, such as, why do I want to work in childcare? And what do you know about Tiny Steps Day Nursery? And why have you applied for this post? And why do you think this is suitable to you? So like questions like that. And then my second interview, because actually I thought first interview went well, I thought brilliant, did well, and I was so nervous to wait until to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And I found out I had a phone call from them, and they said, okay, we can go for you've gone to, like, they call it like or if you think about it in the game, you could go to like the next level.
Yeah.
And it's like a second interview, and I was like, I thought at first, I was like, what, a second interview? I thought, whoa, this is crazy. But the second interview, I of course had the questions in advance as well. But the great thing about it is that I get to do to read a story. Usually it would be to read a story with children, but of course I couldn't go into the nursery, so it had to be with my manager, my deputy manager. They had to pretend to be children, which was quite fun. And the book that I read was a book called Room on the Broom, and of course it's one of my favourite books to read.
Yes.
And then after that, I obviously answered some more questions, such as, how do you think children learn best? What would you like to achieve in the next 5 years? And why do you want to work with us? And other questions like that.
Great. So it sounds like it all went really well.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You had to wait for a call.
I waited quite a long time, and I understand completely if they're like really busy and that, but I was so nervous because I was just thinking like, oh, if they said, oh, you did really well in the interviews, you've got the apprenticeship, or it could have been that, oh, you did really well, but unfortunately you didn't get it because of these reasons. I was a bit like, how is this going to work? And then when I found out that I actually got the apprenticeship, I was completely in shock. And I was surprised that I got it. I kind of went silent, and I was like, did I actually get the job? I was like, what? And I could not believe it. And it took me a little while until I really kind of celebrated that I got it. My family went absolutely crazy, literally. They were all phoning me to say like, oh, Georgie, well done. It just felt like, you know, when it comes to your birthdays and everyone's getting all the phone calls to wish you a happy birthday, basically reminds me like that, but it was just crazy.
Well, and we also heard from Lou that there were 10 other candidates. So yeah, it must feel great to know that you were the best one.
Yeah, so it was really nice. Yeah.
Good. And then, so we'd like to hear it. What was your first day like when you went in?
So when I found out I got the apprenticeship, and I was like, yay. And then when I asked them, like, when would you like me to start? And then when I found out the date, I was so excited. I could not wait to start, because I was like, yes, I'm really excited. But obviously, of course, I had like a little bit of nerves, but which is completely normal, for not just for people with autism or additional needs, it's for anyone really, but it's completely normal to have these sort of nerves. But my first day was so exciting. And I found out about my work shifts that were very interesting, because it's the first time I've ever done like work shifts before. But they were actually,
so you work in the morning. You work in the morning or in the afternoon.
So I had some like early shifts and some late shifts, and my hours were only just 6 hours, just because I'm only an apprentice. This is what I'm allowed to do. But obviously, when it comes to like the COVID safe measurements that we have within the nursery, is that as staff members, we have to wear like a face mask when we go in. Obviously, if there's any staff members coming at the same time, you just got to make sure that you're 2 meter distance. Just got to make sure you wash your hands pretty much all the time, as much time as you can. Hand sanitizer all the time if you can. And what they've been doing quite recently is that I think it was my deputy manager, or it could have been the manager, was taking the staff members' like temperature, just to make sure that obviously our temperature is okay and we can go in. If not, you have to go and get a test done, of course. And it's like, even like when it comes with children, I have to make sure that children wash their hands straight when they get in, pretty much when they're doing any activity, just making sure they wash their hands. And also, because of all the different like rooms, unfortunately all the children can't really miss. We've all got to stay in our bubble where we are, so that's quite important. And also, yes, we're all like, so the different groups were all in a bubble, so we can all kind of be together. We can't exactly, everyone can be together. It's just because of all the safety, and we have to try and stay safe as much as we can. And also, what's important for us as staff members is that cleaning. So even when you have these spray bottles, we have to clean everything that the children touch, because you just don't know what could happen. So it's so important to just keep cleaning, if we can, like all the time. Even do like handles from the cupboards and the doors. That's what I do pretty much most of the time.
You've got to grips with quite a lot of that new stuff.
Yeah, because sometimes for people like me that have autism or additional needs, they might kind of panic thinking, oh my goodness, we've got to learn all of these. But actually what's really good for me is that I kind of watch someone to know, or I just ask them like very clearly like what I've got to do, and then they just show me, and then once I know what I'm doing, I just get on with it.
Great, sounds good. Sounds like it was all quite clear and easy to follow. Yeah, that's good. And so can you tell us what the best part of your job is?
It's of course working with children, always the best part. But of course, not just about working with children, but it's also about working with some amazing staff members, and being part of an amazing team is so important to me. I've had in the past like that being part of a team was quite stressful for me, and I didn't actually feel like I was part of the team. I just felt like the other person, so I just felt kind of left out really. But actually within this, but that was like in the past, so I'm like going like that, put it in the bin, it's all in the past. But with this apprenticeship, I just feel so part of the team. Like whenever I go in, everyone looks so happy. You know, I felt so welcomed. And even every time I came home, my mum and dad would just ask me, "Oh, how's your day been, Georgie? How's it going?" And I've just been so positive. I've not really had any negative experience so far. It's always been so positive. And even what's really good is that, so as Lou, my manager, explained, that sometimes if I'm a bit concerned, a bit worried about something, a bit anxious, usually in the past, I've always just kind of kept it in my head. I've not been as confident or as brave to actually go and speak to them. So I usually speak to my mum and dad. But actually, as I've learned, that was like when I was like at school, you know, college, that sort of days in the past, in the bin. But actually now I learn from these experiences, and actually it's just so important that you've just got to tell yourself that you just got to be brave and just go and speak to them. Even you need to just go out of the room, if you can, just go and speak speak to my manager. And actually I've become more confident, because if I've got something that I'm worried about, I just need to go and let them know. Whereas if I kept it in my head, I just get upset and I cause it a big thing, which is like that.
It sounds like a really good combination of your talents and a really great culture at your organisation.
Yeah, they're such an amazing team, and I get along with everyone really well. The children, of course, always like me for some reason. Probably for many reasons.
Yeah.
I think they just really think that I'm funny. Probably.
And then, I was going to say, our final question, do you have any advice for anyone else looking for a job and preparing for their first jobs?
Well, when I had to look about this question, think of answers, I've written a lot. And I'm going to go through them all because I just think it's actually really important. So I always think it's really good to make a good first impression. I think that's always quite good. Sometimes when you want to practice answering questions, you just need to go and ask someone that you trust. Could be your mum, could be your dad, brother, sister, someone that you really trust, to kind of help you and give you a little bit of support, because that's okay, really. And I've had help from my job coach Ellen, and a little bit of help from my mum and dad. So it's just kind of getting those little pieces together, really, sort of like a puzzle. You just want to get the pieces together. Also, I think it's always important in an interview to have some questions that you want to ask them. And I think, and it just, at the end of your interview, when they do ask, do you have any questions? And it actually shows you that you're so enthusiastic about the job, which is really good. Also, what's really important is to prepare something suitable and comfy to wear when it comes to an interview, just very smart, something that you like to wear. And I think sometimes what's most important is just to relax. No matter what the situation is, it's better to just be relaxed than rather being anxious and nervous or worried, in fact. And you need to believe that you will find the right position. I know it takes forever, been there, done that. But the reality is that there are positions available for you, and you can find one that is a good fit. Not just find one that's in like a supermarket or just some boring one. Just find one that's really good for you. I know it's going to take time. That's the way it is, unfortunately. I wish it could go like that. Unfortunately, I've learned that these things do take a while. But I've got my sort of dream job, so I'm really happy. Also, you will put yourself in a much better position to find that job by trusting that you will find it. And another way to be kind of relaxed is to give up the idea of a perfect job. There's no such thing as perfect. I don't like the word perfect. Go like that. But you should not be looking for that. Definitely not. That is a big to me. For anyone, I'd just go like that. instead you could you are taking a design approach to life, that this is to find the best position for where you are right now in your life. I think that's important. And also sometimes what I always think is to have a bit of words of encouragement or inspirational quotes that you kind of know like off by heart, to kind of make you feel more positive and calm and relaxed, which is like, one of them is if you can dream it, you can do it. It's from Walt Disney. It's quite from Walt Disney. And also one of my other favourites is, promise me you'll always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. It's also from Winnie the Pooh, good classic book. And sometimes little positive kind of quotes, or not really quotes, kind of positive sayings or positive words that I always say to myself is that you're almost there, don't stop trying, just go for it with all your power or like superpower. Don't give up. I know it's hard, I've been there, done that, it's going like that. Just keep going, just try and stay positive as much as you can, because I know it's hard with the situation we're in right now, but you will get there eventually. You've just got to try and stay positive, try and be busy and doing things instead of just sitting there and being bored, and also have great intensity. No matter how difficult things are, you should never give up. And also having the determination and the motivation to do the right thing, I also think is so important.
Thanks, Georgie. I feel like I've just had a pep talk. I feel that's good advice for all of us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Georgie. And I think we're going to stick around for some questions now.
Okay.
That was brilliant, Georgie. Brilliant, thank you. I can't express how wonderful it is to see how confident you are now, because when I first met you, you weren't as confident as you are now. And the fact that you could talk about your job and talking about staying motivated through different times. And I think people need to know that actually during lockdown, Georgie we were just getting to the stage where she was going to start applying for jobs before lockdown and looking at different roles. And then we had lockdown. And to keep her motivated, she did an IT course during that time and upgraded her skills. And that was why I think she was doing lots of job searching online. And then she found Tiny Steps. And I think that the support that she's had in Tiny Steps has been amazing. So it's just brilliant to see the young woman that you're developing into. It's brilliant. So thank you, Rebecca, for asking Georgie all those great questions, and Georgie for your great answers. And if there are any questions for Georgie, unfortunately I can't see the chat. It has stopped again. I saw some brilliant comments, but I can't see any more. Rebecca, are there any things there, or Carol, that there are questions for Georgie?
No, there's not questions. There's more really positive comments about your input, Georgie. All the things people are saying, you're an inspiration. People have really enjoyed listening to you. You know, fantastic. Made me feel really positive about employability for all. I'm going to use more uplifting quotes. Thank you for being confident, funny, etc. So you just, you know, you've done a great job. You and Georgie have done a great job of, I think, convincing a lot of employers that it's, you know, just get on with it, really. Get on and offer those opportunities. So, yeah, thank you. Anybody got any questions? Anybody want to put their hand up and ask a question? Oh, we've got some minions who arrived now. Is it minions? Do I mean minions? Are they the little characters there? I'm not very good on Disney things.
Ben has a question.
Ben.
Yeah. Hi, Georgie. Fantastic
Hi.
presentation. Thank you. My question is about your support from your jobs coach. How long did you have support? Because you said you were talking to your jobs coach before you actually applied for that job. How much interaction did you have with the jobs coach before applying for your job?
I think from, like, I don't know if Ellen wants to speak as well, but I think from my opinion, I have spoken to Ellen quite a lot, and I think it's like important as well. And I think like even like I've been doing a course, and I've also been trying to apply for other jobs, and I've had a lot of help from Ellen as well. So yeah.
Do you want me to say a little bit, Georgie,
Yeah.
about how we started?
Yeah.
So we, Georgie, I got involved with Georgie probably about 18 months ago to 2 years, and she was in a job then that was a 1-year contract, and she managed to get that herself. Georgie has had some really good work experience and some good jobs, but she actually didn't have a job coach involved with her. She did have someone who was supporting her, but actually they weren't a trained job coach. And I think that the difference between offering support and being a job coach is that it's an approach that you look at what people are good at and where they're matched to the right job. And Georgie, while she'd done lots of childcare, her experience in the school wasn't brilliant because she didn't have the best support that she could have had. And even down to an interview where I supported her and they wouldn't allow the questions up front the day before or a week before. Whereas the nursery were a breath of fresh air. You know, we asked for the questions. It gave Georgie time to look at the questions. We could talk through them. We could prepare answers, because Georgie, sometimes if a question comes up, she needs a bit more time to think about things. And that's what the nursery did. And so we prepared for the first interview and then the second interview, but I didn't have to do anything in the interview, just remind her sometimes of good things that she'd done, like the IT course, and the fact that she did have lots of experience with children already, and one-to-one experience, because sometimes Georgie forgets to say what she's good at. But today, I think what she's done has been brilliantly sort of self-promotional, amazing. And I think that that's it's a power to Georgie's confidence since she's been working at the nursery, and the fact that they have also empowered her to grow in the way that she has.
Right. I do just in response to that, and I mean, there's been loads of comments about how fantastic your presentation has been, Georgie, and you know, I'd love the opportunity. If you ever felt that you were capable of maybe coming and talking to some of my students, I think that they would really benefit from hearing some of what you've said today, because it's been really powerful and fantastic. I'm really grateful for your time. Thank you.
Where are you, Ben?
We're in Tamworth.
Okay, so we're recording this session today, and Julie, who manages the programme, is actually, I think we can share the recording so you can use that, but also I think it'd be great to have Georgie doing some really good promotional talks, because she is definitely good at that.
Certainly.